Welcome back to Daily DeFi. Today's June 19th of 2021, Saturday. Hope everyone is doing very, very well here in beautiful Batumi, Georgia, on the Black Sea. Let's start it off with the topics for today. Now, we're going to be discussing Hard Protocol, cVault, and Enzyme. These are three altcoins that really focus on automation in the decentralized finance space while maintaining the scalability and security that you have in the blockchain trilemma. So we'll be talking about those later. These are really just the altcoins that are actually doing well in the 24-hour time frame in the top DeFi tokens. You can see the majority of things are actually down, but some of these lower market cap projects are actually popping off. And what I'm looking for right now in the market is, okay, what are some of these plays that are actually a bit uncorrelated? So literally all these charts, right? You're seeing this, basically this exact same chart. Obviously you have stable coins, but essentially this kind of like slow peak down, but not with some of these that we'll be talking about today. So we will hop into those. Also Shanghai man on some things with crypto as far as countries, all these different things, El Salvador, what's going on in Shanghai. And then I didn't want to talk about it, but I kind of have to. There's this interesting article on Shiba Inu. I'm not a fan of any of these meme tokens. I'm not a fan of Doge. I'm not even a fan of this coin. But it's interesting, okay, if people are going to just dump capital into this, what is it actually doing, right? Like Doge has so many downfalls. And I don't even like talking about these things, but I thought this article actually kind of laid it out quite interesting with Shiba Inu. But let's kick things off with Defi Pulse and Juicy NFTs as always. Now, Defi Pulse, this is what we always kick things off with. Total value locked in decentralized finance sits at $54.67 billion. Aave dominance is at 14.93%. DeFi Pulse Index is down quite significantly. I've been talking about picking up some more of DPI. Basically, you're getting a nice index on the decentralized finance market, similar to like an index fund, right? Just in traditional finance with DPI, the actual token. Because it's at 283.84, down about 6%. I mean, if this retraces back down to these levels, I definitely will be scooping some up, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments if you will be as well. So Aave is still at that number one spot, but it has gone down quite significantly. You know, it was at $13 billion around there. Maker and Compound have pushed down even further. That's crazy that Curve was up there, you know, because at one point, Maker and Compound were in that top two spot, and Aave and Curve were way further down. So very interesting to see the change of the tides when this market shifts and see things kind of balancing out at these different levels. So Juicy NFTs, daily NFT volume has been down quite significantly this week. Actually, you know, last week we were seeing around $2 million a day. Just shows how volatile this non-fungible token market is. 36,000, 28% down. ENS, super rare. Yeah, not the best, right? Now, from Decrypt. So again, don't necessarily want to talk about these things. I try to stray away from them, but hey, it's a weekend. People are already FOMOing into it, so we might as well take this time while the market's kind of moving sideways and down a bit to go, okay, these things that people are dumping capital in, yes, in my opinion, this is just speculation. It's just like playing the lottery, but it's interesting to go, okay, if they're going to fundamentally use blockchain technology, what are some of the benefits, right? So I sometimes just look at the negative side of these tokens. I personally would never hold any. I've traded them before I made a lot of money trading Doge when it was this crazy market, right? Because you just see this parabolic run-ups, and this is all based on sentiment, right? One person tweets something, you can see it before this happens, and you can make a decent amount of capital. So again, I would never personally hold these. Just goes against everything that I study, everything that I talk about every single day. And anyways, Shiba Inu calls itself the Dogecoin killer. In many ways, it's a different breed. Now, Doge is a coin, SHIB is a token, okay? So in the past month, the top U.S. exchange Coinbase, this actually kind of pissed me off that they listed Shiba Inu and they haven't listed some of these other great projects. I mean, you look at some of the projects we talk about on this channel, and they're really great, fundamentally blockchain projects, but they list a meme coin, right? So not the biggest fan. So has announced listings for the pair of cryptocurrencies that are based on not battling inflationary monetary policy or cheating censorship-free, but on dogs, right? So after Doge made dog cryptocurrency cool, a host of other projects got in the act, including Doge Cash, Doge blah, 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 blah. You saw SafeMoon. In a mere amount of weeks debuting on Binance, it amassed $9 billion in market cap and appropriating the same meme-devised mascot that cooled $3.5 billion, just insane. But although Shiba Inu's creator embraced the nickname as Dogecoin killer, SHIB and Doge are fighting with different weapons. What it's good for? So Dogecoin is a fork of Lucky Coin, which itself forked Bitcoin as a spinoff of Litecoin. So you see, like, these things just get diluted over time, and eventually, like, Doge was not decentralized at all. It literally went against the whole point of the cryptocurrency markets, and just pretty insane. But I did find it quite interesting. Let's see this. So, in contrast, SHIB says it's an experiment in decentralized spontaneous community buildings which sounds a bit in accordance with the Dogecoin ethos of memes. In tokenomics, however, they're very different. It does have a supply cap, though a very high one of 1 quadrillion. So again, Dogecoin has no fixed supply cap, but it looks like a Shiba Inu, which again, it doesn't mean anything. Anyone can go out there and make tokens. So again, this is why I have timestamps in these videos, because if you're not interested in this, you can skip ahead. It's one of those things where it's like you kind of have to contemplate the downside of this market and go, man, so much of this is still speculation. But hey, then again, people still play the lottery. And honestly, maybe this is better than playing the lottery. Who knows? But it's pretty crazy. And also, yeah, the project gifted 50% of to the Ethereum co-founder Vitalik, who then gave a sizable proportion to charity before the burning of it. Okay, so crazy things. I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, right? So next, Shanghai Man economist says El Salvador on the road to death. Salaries paid in ECNY, so that's the basically digital yuan, right? So former banking heads question foreign financial policies. Workers paid in digital yuan in the milestone of the large Series A is closed by DeFi platform Sin Futures. Now, our man in Shanghai has refused the recent regulations slow down the news coming out of China. Enterprise blockchain, central bank digital currencies, and startup projects continue to make massive positive impacts in the region, hoping to grow a value through technology. So, death march for El Salvador. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this article. I'm actually probably going to make a video. The second video of today is probably going to be on El Salvador Citizenship by Investment Program, because it's quite interesting. I discussed it on last night's live stream, but I didn't know the full details of it. So I probably will make a video on that, discussing, okay, like, is this passport actually worth getting? Just kind of some thoughts overall on El Salvador. And then tonight there will be a live stream. So stay tuned for that. You can join the Telegram group or join the Twitter for updates. The Twitter is at investglobal_IO. The Telegram group is linked down below with the Twitter. Okay, so death march for El Salvador. The debates around El Salvador continue this week as media and officials tried to digest the adoption of Bitcoin as a natural currency. JP Morgan stated there was little economic benefit. And okay, so this is the thing. All these places are going to bash it no matter what, because this is going against completely what they're doing. So if you're listening to banks, Bitcoin is the antithesis of banks, or banks are the antithesis of Bitcoin, however way you want to look at it. It's so interesting, right? Like, you see all these people pushing against it. Just like, if let's say you've grown up in your hometown your whole life, and you're thinking about moving away, everyone's going to say, no, that's scary, right? Like, this change is always scary. People always see change as scary. It's really that first mover advantage. Yes, there's risk involved. Yes, these things happen. But when you look at, okay, what's the downside versus what's the upside? El Salvador doesn't have a ton. I mean, there always is downside, yes. But as a country, they have a lot of upside, right? They have a lot of benefits. Countries that adopt crypto, that adopt blockchain, I think could really bring in a lot of new people. I'm one who travels around. I'm always looking for different citizenship by investment programs, different residency programs. And that's really what this is all about, right? So seeing countries on more of a competitive scale as a business versus just kind of a sacred cow, right? That, like, oh, countries don't need to compete. No, they need to compete. And I think especially the U.S. and kind of these more legacy brand Western countries are falling behind, as someone honks. Let's see. So John Hopkins professor Steve Hanke warned that the move could completely collapse the economy of a small nation. The former Bank of China deputy governor Wang Yolongi took a very headline approach by stating that the volatility and lack of regulation or controls would put the economy on a road to death. This quote, appearing in the States of the Run media on paper June 9th, was an unusual, direct, colorful statement for the issue. So again, a lot of people are moving against this. Just like, this is one of those things that I always talk about when I talk with, like, people that have been especially investing in, like, emerging markets or commodities for a long time. They say, if you talk with a friend and they say that's the worst investment idea ever, I would never do that, you're dumb, that's where there's opportunity. But if you talk with them and they're like, oh, hey, let me get in that with you, that's where it's a bad investment, because it's really kind of the madness of crowds, right? When the madness of crowds go, okay, Bitcoin's the best investment ever, that's where I get a bit scared about crypto. That's why I averaged out on the top of this, or at least this is previous peak, right, in this bull run. I do think we will continue on. I think the market will move sideways, but now people aren't talking about it as much, right? So you have to look at the fear and greed index. You have to look at sentiment, and it's very, very important to do all these things. So anyways, let's move on to the top decentralized finance tokens. Right here. Let's go with, pretty much everything's down. You can see, obviously, DAI is a stablecoin, down about 5 to 10% on the daily. And then we move into some of these smaller tokens, like Enzyme, and let's hop into it. So wasting no more time, Enzyme MLN, right around $93, up 12% on the daily rank of 168 and on about 14,000 watch lists. Now, this essentially allows you to do more automated investing. So similar to what CyberFi is doing, Enzyme basically focuses on having you, similar to like, okay, if you're trading and you're setting stop losses or setting conditional orders, these are basically automated trading tools. Enzyme is similar with kind of your crypto portfolio. I think this is very, very interesting. cVault has a similar thing, except theirs is more for like a vaults for yield farming and staking. So like automated executions for yield farming. So very, very interesting projects we're talking about today. Market cap is around $166 million. Let's see, volume is up about 436%. That's pretty crazy. We saw like kind of a little bit of a spike there. It has been in kind of this bear market for a long time, right? So in the previous run, what did we get up to? Yeah, around $250. So you have pretty significant discount here. But I mean, it was a lot nicer, right, when you're picking it up around $2. So you see what's going on there. Next, cVault. This one we have not talked about. So the ticker symbol is CORE, rank number 380 on about 7,279 watch list. Let's see. So circulating supply. So total supply and circulating supply are the exact same. So you have what, 10,000 core in the total. That's why the price is so high. So I think so many people don't realize this. Like, it doesn't matter if a project says, hey, we're going to burn 40 trillion tokens, because you can set the market cap to whatever you want. Just like what we talked about with Shiba Inu, they set it to 1 quadrillion, right? So this project went, okay, 10,000, that's a hard cap. So if anyone sees that change, they can immediately get out of the project. That's why you can use things like automated trading things. So if you see something change in the code, you can get out of these things. Like you saw this problem with Iron Finance. Obviously, if you did your own research with that project, you could have seen this coming before. But any of these projects I talk about, I always say, do your own research. Link for that video down below in the description. Market cap is pretty tiny, $66 million. Volume is also very, very small, right around $400,000. I always like to, and that's up about 500%. I always like to see a volume of at least like 1 million to 10 million. But this has just really moved sideways. Not a lot of action here. But yeah, I mean, again, that's why you see some people go, okay, like, oh, I can't afford a whole Bitcoin. Well, that's the whole point of this space, is fractionized, right? So tokenized things. And you don't have to own a full one. You can kind of average in, even if it's just $10. And with this, if the total supply was 10 quadrillion, it would be worth a couple pennies, right? Probably even less than a couple pennies. But since they make that, you see how you can kind of mess with tokenomics and kind of skew the price there. So many people, you have to really understand this, right? And I don't know if it's a good explanation of it, but if you have any questions, again, you can reach out to us in the comments or hop on Telegram and we can start the conversation there. But moving on to hard protocol. This is another one we have not talked about. So rank 368, I just figured we'd highlight some tokens that are doing pretty well on the daily. Again, do your own research. I am not saying you should invest in these at all. I do like Enzyme out of these three, but these are extremely low market cap. So $70 million market cap, volume 38 million. Wait a second. Was cVault's volume? It's so strange that cVault has that tiny volume. Okay, so anyways, just a little aside there. Like I said, 70 million, fully diluted, 208 million, circulating to max supply. What they have, like 66 million tokens to 200 million total supply. Volume is 38 million, up about 95% on the daily. We've retraced from those highs right around $2.66. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much all for today's Daily DeFi. Let me know in the comments if you want to see maybe a deep dive on hard protocol, maybe a deep dive on cVault. I don't really want to do a deep dive on Shiba Inu. That's probably all that I'll talk about it, to be quite honest. I was a little hesitant. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this one. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to stay up to date, time-sensitive content. Join the Telegram group, link down below in the description. Join our Twitter, link down below in the description. That's all for this one. Again, live stream tonight, so stay tuned for that. As always, invest global, and until next time.